Yes, the sound of that familiar music means it's time. Once again, everybody, welcome back to the Nightmare Room. I am your host, Nick Nightmare, and I am drinking a glass of red wine out of a plastic Batman cup, and that's okay. And it's my Batman cup. I bought it for myself for just one measly $1. And you need to make use out of things however you can. And if you need to drink your alcoholic beverage out of a $1 children's cup once in a while, you have to do these things. And with the week I fucking had, it's definitely one of those days for wine out of a sippy plastic cup. Although I don't have a sippy top, but if I did, I would definitely be using it just because I need a break from reality. Wrestling has not been providing us with great breaks from reality as of late. As we all know, Raw sucks still. SmackDown's okay. NXT's been a little off because we're in the middle of this period of rebuilding / waiting for Samoa Joe or Shinsuke to be called up, whoever it is, so that they could proceed with the plans for the glorious one himself, Mr. Bobby Roode. And I realize now that I left the music playing, and that's fine, because this music that you're hearing right now, along with the music that played prior to it, and let me stop that right now, is for the announcement that we have coming up in just a moment. I just needed to vent a little bit. My buddy at work, my partner, see, I'm a butcher, you see, and there's 2 butchers at my job, and he's been out all week with some mysterious sickness. He's apparently been hospitalized. I hope he's doing okay. And I hope he comes back to work soon, because I can't take being with these guys by myself. It's just unbelievable. The workload has been tripled on me, and my boss has been a douche to me throughout the week, culminating today with an incident. But, nonetheless, it wasn't too intense, and, cooler heads did prevail, as I do need to pay for Christmas and all types of things, so I need my job. As much as I wanted to fucking walk out and leave them with their hands in the air and up their ass, I didn't do that. Let me take a sip. I've been holding it here. I haven't taken a sip yet. Let me take a fucking sip. That's a little Red Guitar brand sangria. Delicious. Fucking beautiful. Now that I got that shit off my chest and I'm home to relax, I'm here in my comfort zone and in my happiness to talk with you guys about wrestling. And this week's episode is going to be special because we are about to announce the nominees for our first 3 categories. Feel free to leave your votes in the comment section below. While you're there, don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you are not already a subscriber. If you are, I want to thank you very much for doing so. And please mash that like button. Punch it right in the face, because I need likes on my stuff so that I know that you guys like it and that you'll be back for more, and that I'm not wasting my time here just talking to my friends, even though I love my friends and I love to talk to you guys. But, I could do that when I see yous. And I want us all to expand. I want more interaction. I want more opinions. I want to know if you people think I'm fucking crazy or if you agree with me. If I got something going here, I had somebody reach out to me. I'm going to give him a little shout out here. Eeper the Creeper on Twitter. He tweeted me earlier today. Obviously, he's watched the stuff. He likes the stuff that I do here in the Nightmare Room and on the SledgeHammer Sports Network. And had suggested maybe doing some type of a collaborated show between the 2 of us. And with a name like the Creeper, he would fit in really well with Nick Nightmare. I haven't been able to stop thinking about it since he tweeted me, like, Nick Nightmare and the Creeper. How cool does that sound as a show? We'll give it a little sub-tagline later on so that everybody knows it's a wrestling show. He's a real big wrestling fan. He lives out in Wisconsin. I want to give him a shout-out. Thank you for watching the show, bro. Thank you for liking it, and thank you for reaching out to me. And I hope and look forward to working with you guys in the future. And maybe we'll get big. Who the fuck knows? I help you out. You help me out. We scratch each other's backs. Now, let's get to today's fucking purpose. And what is today's purpose? We are going to announce our categories and the nominees for those categories. And now we are going to restart the music as we make everything work right this time. Here we go. All right, now that's better. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the nominations for our first three awards for the 2016 SledgeHammer Sports Network Pro Wrestling Awards. I am your host, Nick Nightmare, as we said at the top, and we got some good stuff to talk about here. We got three categories, very basic, very, standard categories, and we're going to start off right now as we announce the category, the Male Superstar of the Year. Here we go. Our nominees are, in no particular order, the phenomenal AJ Styles, the unbelievable Samoa Joe. This guy has been on fire, and I just fucking love Samoa Joe. And on the other side of Samoa Joe, there is our next nominee, Shinsuke Nakamura, the psycho shaking man himself. He's another one very high on my favorites list this year. Very tough choice for me in this category, as we still have two more nominees to announce. The next one being the Raw Universal Champion, Kevin Owens. Some people might not agree with him being in there, but Kevin Owens has had a phenomenal year alongside Chris Jericho. He's definitely made his impact this year. He's not a fighting champion, but he wasn't expected to be, because he's that bad guy, that heel, and he's just gonna play things off and let shit roll off his back. He's playing the cool as a cucumber guy. He should be more of in the Samoa Joe light, take on all comers, rip your fucking jaw off, and leave you in your own blood on the mat. But, this is where they're going with them, and I have to put him in this category. You have your SmackDown champion, you have to have your Raw champion. They are the representatives of the show for the last 6 months, maybe even more than a year. And Kevin Owens deserves it. He's one of my favorite wrestlers on the roster. He has not gotten his chance to really shine. They have Roman Reigns just bubbling underneath him throughout the entirety of this title run, and he knows that it doesn't mean anything. So I don't think he's really giving it his all. But you have to have him definitely considered as one of the Male Superstar of the Year. I was going to put Chris Jericho in there separately, but I will not do that, as they are kind of a pair. So if you vote for Kevin Owens, his best friend will in turn be the Superstar of the Year as well. And our final nominee for the guys, you're seeing it, it's up there. It has to be, because here is a man who has transcended wrestling now. Matt Hardy has been part of some of the greatest moments in wrestling history, bar none, even before he was broken and started deleting fucking everything. So this movement that he's done this year has swept the wrestling world by storm, and you have to put him in this category. He is probably the Superstar of the Year. He's taken himself, he's reborn into this broken gimmick that has just been fantastic. He's been untouchable. Everything he does is completely entertaining from start to finish. Whether it's ridiculous nonsense or it makes some sort of sense, it doesn't matter. He pulls you in. They draw you in. You are totally giving your mind to Matt Hardy, because not only are you trying to understand what the fuck this lunatic is saying, you want to be a part of it. You want to yell, delete! His chant has gone outside of his promotion. We hear delete chants constantly during Monday Night Raw. The impact, no pun intended, of Matt Hardy has been felt throughout the industry, so he definitely deserves his spot right here as one of the nominees for Male Superstar of the Year. We are going to move on to our next category, being the ladies. Hello, ladies. Here we go. The Female Superstar of the Year. This one probably not as hard for me to choose. I know who my pick is. I want to know who your pick is. And to be just a little bit different, because it was so hard for me to narrow down this category, we're going to have 6. We're going to have 6 women in this category for you guys to pick. And we are going to start it off with the NXT Women's Champion, Total Domination, Asuka, the Empress of Tomorrow. She has been unbeatable. She has been on a tear the whole year. You have to include her in the discussion when you're talking about the best female superstar this year. Next, the Queen herself, Miss Charlotte, who has been placed in a feud from hell that just will not die. And it is not her fault that we're all getting sick of her. Well, most of us are. But she is a 3-time women's champion, Raw Women's Champion. Doesn't matter, 3 times already in 6 months. 3 times in 6 months. Are we going to celebrate that? No. But it is what it is. And she is who she is, and she deserves a chance to be named as the Superstar of the Year. Again, multi-time Raw Women's Champion throughout the year. Her feud with Sasha has been historic with the Hell in the Cell and all this stuff, so she has to be in there. As does her foil, Little Miss Sasha Banks herself, our current Raw Women's Champion. And again, much in the same tone, she just has to be here because that feud has dominated the year. We all want it to be over. Even the females on the roster are tweeting to WWE Creative, please just let this end. Summer Rae to Road Dogg, just let this end. To Daniel Bryan, please get it over with. I would be doing it too, but they will not give a shit about what I say. But if more and more people on the roster start voicing their opinions, maybe we'll get some change. I don't know. Moving on before we get too sidetracked. Another Raw superstar, Bayley, who has not been given her just due, has been used terribly. And to prove that point, I have somebody coming at me on YouTube telling me that Bayley's just a huggable goofball. And where I can see where you're coming from by saying that, and that's the fault of Raw, not hers, not Bayley's fault. That's the way they're portraying her instead of the underdog that she is. She should be the underdog with uber talent in her veins that doesn't look the part but can beat anybody on her best day. This is a woman who's gone head-to-head with Asuka, with the likes of Nia Jax, have had Iron Man matches with Sasha Banks, have had tremendous matches with Charlotte and Becky and everybody down there. Bayley is one of the top talents on the roster. She deserves to be treated that way, even though she definitely is not as of late. But since she's been called up, she has fizzled out. But she deserves to be here because there's nobody else on Raw that you could say even matters. Who else are we going to put here? Alicia Fox? Bayley is who she is. She's a phenomenal talent. She will be a big part of this next up-and-coming year of the WWE. And she might be more deserved of the spot next year at this time when we do our second annual award show. But I have to include her in here. She's just too talented to not be part of this list and to be in the discussion. Everything she did in NXT at the beginning of the year, before she was demoted to Raw, definitely puts her in contention for this honor. And after that, we have to include Becky Lynch, straight fire herself, who has elevated her game, who had a very good run with the championship despite having her little injury and being out or whatever. She defended the title very well against Alexa. She has trouble on the mic. She's very tough to listen to. It hurts my ears. It hurts my heart, because if she would just get a little better, she'd be a little more relatable and a little more connectable, and she probably would be the best one on the roster. She's absolutely beautiful. She wrestles in the ring. She's talented at wrestling. It's not just about knowing the moves. She's very good at what she does, and it's her voice. Just like Cesaro and Sheamus and the other guys, their accents hold them back. And that's just the way it is in the WWE, guys. I hope that she's able to take what she's given and turn it bigger, because she deserves to be one of the biggest superstars of all time. Becky Lynch has been fantastic. She's proven to be the best good girl on the roster. She plays it well. And on the other side of that, we have our final nominee, 5 Feet of Fury, Alexa Bliss. My favorite. She's my favorite, because in the ring, you can't touch her. None of these people on this screen that you're looking at right now, with the exception of maybe Asuka, has the wrestling ability and the wrestling mind. It's not just about hitting moves. It's about knowing when to hit these moves, knowing when to snarl your face at the crowd in between a move, knowing how to sell a move. When you're on the floor, the pain in her face looks real. She gets up and she gives it to the audience. She gets in the other people's faces. She is a true heel. She is a true heel, which we do not have in the women's division. We have people yelling and screaming and fighting with the crowd. Alexa Bliss just goes out there, says what she wants to say, does what she wants to do, like a true heel would. And she is nominee number 6. Here's your choices, folks. Get them in there. Make that comment down below. If you want to comment on what I had to say, you can do that too. But that's not the point. The point is to find out which one of these that you guys out there in the world think is the superstar of the year for the females in pro wrestling. Now, obviously, this is a very WWE-centric theme that we got going on, because I really only watch NXT, WWE, TNA. You know, I watch it, I torture myself and I watch it. There's nothing much going on there except Eli Drake and the Hardy Boys, like I said. But I have to watch it. I occasionally watch New Japan. I'm just now getting into Lucha Underground. But there's no reason to bring in all these people that you guys might not be familiar with, and I'm going to put them up there and you're not even going to know who I'm talking about. And even though they may deserve it, in some of the Mark's eyes out there, you might be saying this list of women is stupid. You know, where's Sexy Star? You know, where's Rosemary or Jade or whoever the fuck you want to bring up as somebody from another company. But it's just not worth it. I mean, this is the cream of the crop right now in the eyes of the whole entire world. So make your choice. Leave that comment below, or you can get them to me on Twitter, or hit the Facebook page for the SledgeHammer Wrestling Show. You can leave your votes all there. I will have them all tallied up when we're getting ready to have the live broadcast of the award show, probably December 30th. I'm working on that. I will be more in touch with you guys about that. So let's go to our last category, Match of the Year. Now this one is tough. This one is very tough for me, because there were 3 matches that are on this list that I almost can't choose between. Now, I took off certain ones because I had about 8 of them by the time I was done, and I just had to narrow it down. And sticking with the WWE-centric theme of things, I really only put WWE matches. So let's get to them, and here we go. Match number 1. Cedric Alexander versus Kota Ibushi from the CWC tournament this year was maybe the best match of the whole entire tournament. It got everybody talking. It prompted the crowd at Full Sail to keep chanting, "Please sign Cedric," because everything we saw was just so fucking awesome. And these two guys, if you take this match and you put it on any show that the WWE does, Royal Rumble, Raw, SmackDown, NXT, 205 Live, wherever you want to put it, it's going to be the best match of the night. This match was fan-fucking-tastic. Go back and watch it if you haven't seen it and you want to see what I'm talking about. The CWC on the WWE Network. Check it out, man. Cedric Alexander versus Kota Ibushi. I keep hitting the microphone, and I'm sorry for that if I'm making any really loud noises. I'm just getting very excited about some of these choices, man. Check this out, man. Next one. AJ Styles versus Dean Ambrose from TLC that just happened a couple of weeks ago. I had to put this up here because this was probably the best main event for a pay-per-view, or for any show for that matter, in the WWE this whole entire year. This match had it all, even AJ Styles' ass. It was fantastic. Not his ass. The match. I mean, I'm sure his ass is fantastic too, but that's not what I was talking about. This match, probably the best ladder match of the year within the WWE, has to be included on this list as far as match of the year. Unbelievable effort by these two guys. It's all fresh in our memory, so I feel like that might give it a little bit of a favoritism to it because everybody just kind of seen it and we all remember it, but these are your choices. Next, Roman Reigns versus Finn Balor from the night after WrestleMania. The night after Raw, when Finn Balor made his debut and beat Roman Reigns. Later that night, he was probably ruined by the fact that they did that whole thing with the entrance and everything, and I thought it would have been much better to have it at the pay-per-view. And then when they finally did it, after the draft, and he won the Universal title over Roman Reigns in that crowd, it just felt good to watch. And then from there, everything just went to shit. So this was the one great moment that Monday Night Raw had all year long. So I had to put it up here. Despite my personal feelings against Roman Reigns over here, and I do love Finn Balor, but he's been gone half the year. But if he did put on one hell of a show that night on Raw to earn the Universal Champion, being the first ever, not Kevin Owens, Finn Balor, first ever Universal Champion, even though it may have only been for like a week or a day, whatever it was. Match number 4, again, NXT TakeOver Toronto, The Revival versus DIY, the best tag team match I've seen all year, no matter which promotion. And I almost was going to put the one on the Brooklyn show where DIY came this close to winning but didn't pull it off. And at NXT Toronto, that 2 out of 3 falls match was insane. Was absolutely insane. This is probably going to be my pick. I loved this match so much. And these guys put everything they could out there. They were laying into each other. It was beautifully crafted tag team wrestling. You really seen them take everything into account. The story that they told was just magnificent. This, as you could see, is probably my pick. This was my favorite match. Gargano and Ciampa versus The Revival. One of the best matches you'll see any year. Never mind just this year. If you haven't seen it, go back and watch it. NXT TakeOver Toronto World NXT Tag Team Title match. Unfucking believable, you guys. And finally, our last match. Shinsuke Nakamura versus Samoa Joe from the very same show. This show at NXT TakeOver Toronto was from beginning to end unbelievable. And there was not a dull moment. And I could put that whole entire show card up here, and every single match could have been match of the year. Just based off of the presentation of the show alone, and the way these guys went out there to do their thing that night. And Samoa Joe and Shinsuke were no different here. And I think what made this even more special is that nobody expected Joe to win. And when he won that match and took Nakamura to his absolute limit before all was said and done, nobody believed what they just saw. It was an NXT moment equivalent probably to the streak ending. I mean, although it's nowhere near as big. But in NXT, Shinsuke Nakamura is like a god. And Samoa Joe is a beast that everybody's afraid of, much like Brock. And, man, this match was unbelievable. And when he got that 3 count, I nearly jumped out of my seat because I just didn't expect it. I didn't expect it at all. And these are our 5 Match of the Year candidates. Guys, make sure you get your votes in right now. Make those comments. Hit me up on Twitter. Hit me up on Facebook. Wherever you want to leave your vote, feel free to do so. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button if you have not done so already. And that is our first 3 categories. We're going to announce the other categories for you guys to interact and vote with on another show this week, either with a review or as a separate standalone award show special, just to round out the categories and show you guys all the nominees. May not be all this cool. You know, we may just get a nice little list so that I can keep it quick and keep this shit coming at you so that I always have stuff for you guys to watch right here on the Sledgehammer Sports Network. I am Nick Nightmare. This has been the Nightmare Room Award Show Presentation Special. And you know what? Before we sign off, let me switch back to my normal screen here. Before we sign off, I'm just being informed as I look at my screen here, 1 second, that Vince McMahon has apparently fired the lead writer for the women's division in the WWE. Now, this particular person apparently was in charge of both women's divisions of Raw and SmackDown, which I find hard to believe because SmackDown's was infinitely better and seemed like it was just being crafted by somebody that knows what they were doing. And then Raw, the person creating the stuff for the women over there was just absolutely dreadful. But apparently it's the same person. And Vince McMahon has now fired this person. And I could not be happier because I can only hope that somebody he puts in there, and it's not Kevin Dunn. I wish he would have fired Dunn. That would have been better. Or even yet, fire yourself and go fucking retire and swim in your millionaire bank like Scrooge McDuck, because that's where you need to be. Speaking of which, DuckTales is coming back to TV. Do you guys believe that shit? I'm watching the Disney Channel with my daughter, and DuckTales coming this year. I mean, what do you mean coming? DuckTales has been around for 20 fucking years. Now it's coming. All they can do is take all the shit that we liked back in the day and redo it for the kids of today. Not that I really have too much of a complaint, but let's get a little more original. You know, let's stop remaking things that were fucking awesome. You don't have to remake those because they were awesome. Just rerun the originals. That would be good enough. Whatever. I'm ranting now. I'm off track. I think I need another sip of my wine. And that is going to do it. I just wanted to give you that little bit of news. I just seen it crawl across my screen right here. Vince McMahon finally maybe coming to his senses a little bit. Maybe he's starting to see what I'm seeing with these women and that they deserve a little bit better than what they're getting. And maybe that's exactly what's about to happen. Thank you guys so much for joining me. This has been the Nightmare Room. I am Nick Nightmare. Shout out again to Eeper the Creeper. Thank you, brother. I will be in touch, and maybe we'll be doing some cool stuff in the future. Don't forget to leave your comments, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, follow me on Twitter @Nick Nightmare, and I will see you next time. Have a good one.